Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and it's the Hook Better Leads podcast. And today I have Ben Hodson from Job Nimbus on. How you doing, Ben?
Hey, everybody. Doing great.
We're talking about how people should stop spending money on leads that they aren't working.
Yep.
And some of you might go, what? People aren't working the leads? Yeah, people are not working the leads. We both have some quick stories here to tell you that might really kind of tell this lesson better than preaching will. So we're not going to preach. We're going to give you stories. And I think that the main problem here is that contractors say they want more business, but Ben and I both know that the leads are slipping through the cracks. Either the contractors are not working leads well, or they're sloppy, or there isn't clarity on who's working what and what was the last touch. Ben, what have you seen? Tell us the story.
Well, we actually have a lot of customers. Well, they're not even customers yet. They're people coming to us as a lead. Interesting enough, they're interested in trying to solve a problem, and they'll say the same thing over and over again. They'll say the words, a lot of jobs are slipping through the cracks. And they usually start by meaning we're getting a lot of leads either through referrals or great reviews, or we're getting a lot of, we're paying for a lot of marketing dollars. That's more common. And we're paying for these leads and then they're not getting worked. I don't know where they're at. I don't know who's followed up. And even if I know that they at least got worked once, I don't know how well they are worked. And there's some best practices around how much you want to work a lead too. And a lot of people don't have good tracking of those things right now. So we actually created, we did a little test here at our company. It was kind of fun. One of our employees that had a roof leak. Interesting enough. And we said, well, wait, before you just like start calling, let's actually do an experiment. Let's take 10 of the top companies that are coming up on Google search in Utah, in this area where he lives. And let's just call them, and you call them and don't tell them anything about Job Nimbus. You're just a customer and you need your roof fix, and see what happens. I'm curious how they respond. So we called up 10 and he left a message with all of them. Actually only one picked up the phone on the call. Everybody else you had to leave a message with out of 9 others. That's kind of shocking, I thought first. And the one that picked up the phone was ready to book an appointment, had a crew that could come out, or a service tech or whatever that could come out even the next day. So that was pretty impressive. But he said, well, I'm going to get a couple other bids. I'll wait. He only got one other call back. So that means out of 9, only one other person actually called him back. And kind of crazy. So he left another message with the other 8, and he still did not get anybody to call back, and they still did not answer the phone on the first ring. So he thought, well, maybe they're out of business. I don't know. They're coming up on Google search, and they're one of the top rated roofers in my area, but this is very odd. And so he went forward, and now here's the funny thing that happened. We actually correlated the companies after that back to who was a Job Nimbus customer, and the 2 that were Job Nimbus customer of those 10, both were the ones that called him back or answered the phone. I don't think that's a coincidence, for one. But the second thing was interesting is he got his roof repaired by this top roofer, did a great job, had a great experience with them. They used our invoicing tools, all that stuff. It was fun to see a real customer using everything that he works on, because he's in our development team. And then he's a month later, it's like 3.5 weeks later, he's at his house with his kids upstairs, and he sees a ladder out the window. He's like, what the heck? So he goes out there. There's a dude on his roof. The guy's wandering around, and he's like, what are you doing up there? Oh, yeah, you guys called us a couple of weeks ago. We finally got around to getting out to the service appointment. I thought I'd get up on your roof and look for that leak first that you mentioned. Bizarre. Didn't even knock on the door, just got up on the roof and was wandering around. And was actually taking photos of the repair, acting like it needed to be repaired again. Kind of wild. Anyways, came down. He said, "This already got fixed. What are you doing? You never even called me back for a month." Yeah, sorry, we've been really busy, was the answer. There's a lot to unpack there.
I mean, that is extremely interesting. I want to talk about the problem for one more minute. And I want to tell a little story, because we listened to 100 calls to understand what the best roofers were doing on their service calls. Yep. And what I'm trying to understand the problem is, why is it bad that people are just burning through leads? What is the real problem? Because there's no harm in it, right? What's the problem?
When you talk to most contractors, they're trying to grow their business is the main thing, especially owners. They're all about growth. And so if you want to grow your business, the best way to do that is to work the leads you're getting so that you actually close more. If you work more leads, you close more leads. It's axiomatic. And then secondarily, you're spending money to get those leads in through marketing. You might be paying for Google placement, all kinds of things. You might be paying for direct ads or direct leads from sources like Angie's or whatever. And if you're not working them, that is just straight cost going into your profit margin for no reason. So it's like a double whammy. You're not growing and it's costing you more.
I hope to God that you're not out there. You have your best salespeople knocking doors. Well, these leads from Google are falling through the cracks.
Right.
That's my hope that you're not doing that. Because, anyways, I don't want to go into that, but I'm just saying these are important. It's too much money to be spending, or it's too much money that you've spent previously. If you're the top of Google, especially if you're spending money on Google ads, oh my gosh, or Facebook or whatever, just don't waste that money. Don't waste that money. It could be better spent. So before I go into this next question for you, I just want to tell that brief story of the calls.
Yeah.
So we listened to 100 calls, some of the things that we saw. I mean, it isn't necessarily.
Wait, why did you listen to 100 calls? What was the context of that?
Yeah. So we do quality control on our clients.
Cool.
We're trying to understand what's a good lead too. So we naturally do this just to check up on lead quality.
Yeah.
So, and then also while you're in there, hey, is there anything that they could be doing better on, the phone? So I think that's, that process and kind of understand. And I honestly, part of me is like, do I really know what's best to do on the phone? Well, if you listen to these calls, you would know pretty quickly. There's some basic things that people aren't doing. I'll give those really quick. You just got to be nice. You got to set the appointment. You got to get details about what's going on. You need to know some of the things I wish people had, and maybe Jive Nimbus helps with this. I don't know, but I wish that they knew exactly which service tech was up next and when their next appointment, when the next one would be. Because if they had those things, who's the person? Because there's a lot of fumbling going on, and if they had, I know who's up next and I know when the next appointment was, it would be way smoother. And from my point of view, if you're not friendly, you don't have to be like the sharpest person on earth to answer a call. But if you're not friendly and you're acting like you want that business, because there is some people answering, and I mean, like, most of our clients are great, but hey, sometimes the most learning you get from problems. So it really comes down to being friendly, having details in front of you, and being able to set the appointment. And it's not about, you don't need to close that job, but you need to leave a good impression after that call. They should want to work with your company.
Yeah, it almost feels like sometimes when I call contractors there, they sound like it's a hassle for them to have to pick up the phone. And I think from feeling overwhelmed, disorganized, not very efficient. And so it's like, it almost is a hassle in their mind because there's just one more thing to worry about right now,
And I like a little bit of separation between the people getting the work done and the people selling a little bit. Because no offense, just because you're busy doesn't mean you shouldn't be stacking the deck with more business. You know what I mean? Like, that's something I learned early, is like, you need to keep your hustle going even when you're busy, because 3 months happens pretty quick, and we need the 3 months from now to be busy too.
Yeah,
it's not always the case. Otherwise you get in this big up and down thing, roller coaster with your business, and that is not fun. So to smooth that out, be good on the phone. I mean, I think that's a big deal. So how else have you seen contractors be disorganized?
Well, before we go into that, actually, I have a couple ideas around that. So I learned early on in doing selling or even being an entrepreneur. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're the first salesman in every company, right? And a lot of the phone sales that I was doing, it's a freaking grind, whether you're taking inbound calls or doing outbound calls or that sort of thing. And to keep up for it, because the really way you want to do this is you want to make a meaningful connection with every person you talk to. It's so hard to do when you can't see them or anything like that. One of the things that I did that works so good, and it sounds so simple, is before I would do any call, I would smile. And I actually had a mirror on my desk and I would smile at myself. And just the energy of being up and smiling
Yeah.
on the first words that I say to the call, I was smiling when I talked to him. The smile goes through the phone. It totally does. And people immediately feel it genuine, more genuine conversation happening.
Man, that's good. Let's tap into that deep expertise. Any other things that you felt like from your experience selling on the phone, anything else that you felt was useful?
Yeah, the next thing is trying to get them to open up. And there in negotiation theory, there's a concept called reciprocity. And the thinking here, by the way, whenever you're in a negotiation, a really smart move, depending on the candidate or the person you're working with, is to be very vulnerable and open about something. Now, this sounds counterintuitive because most people think negotiations all about destroying the other person, winning at all costs. That's actually the wrong way to do most negotiations. So if you share something vulnerable, and I'm not talking about the deal things they should know, I'm talking about something personal that you share, a worry that you have, something that makes you look open, that brings down the wall. And sometimes people try to exploit it, but that's good too. But what it does is it causes the other person to feel like they need to share back or that it's okay to share back. So a lot of times on the call, I would talk about a problem or something going on in my life right now that I was worried about. Yeah, it's been a tough day because of X, but I'm really excited to talk to you. And then they would immediately feel a connection with me because they know something about me and that I'm open, honest. And I would say, tell me about, why. And then boom, they would start spilling their guts about different things because people love to talk about themselves, but they're hesitant unless they feel like they know you. So you let them know you a little bit and that opens up the door. Now, in the case of a homeowner calling in and saying, hey, I've got a roof leak, you might just get right into like, okay, tell me about what happened. And they'll usually have a kind of a crazy story. It's like the carpet's messed up. My daughter found blah, blah, blah. And now you've got something to work from like, oh man, doesn't that suck? We can totally help you with that. And you're in their court, you're bonding with them. It's all about that connection in that first 2 minutes of the call.
I don't know why I didn't realize, like, before listening to these calls, I didn't realize how many really are in that situation where the leak is happening right now. I think crazy. I just thought, I didn't realize that. I mean, it is the case. I'm sure roofers are like, yeah, of course, but I did not know that.
Yeah, I think we always take it for granted. It's like, oh, it happened last night or whatever, or it's old and we just noticed it, but that's not usually the case.
And there is people referring out, like because they can't get to it right now. Which always makes me a little sad, if I'm honest. Yeah. As the one that might be helping to increase the leads. Yeah. They're referring quick and because they can't get to it today or tomorrow, and so I guess I want you to be organized because I want you to be able to get out to those leaks today and tomorrow.
That's exactly
because right. I know I ultimately believe you're going to close more business. And I think that that's good for all of us. So I don't know. It's hard when you got limited staff and you've got, there's a lot of constraints on a small business owner right now that doesn't feel like they can get to it quick. And in a business where getting to it quick is so important.
I have a way that I've been working with companies on that's worked really well. And again, I like simple things. And so a lot of times you hear things I say and it's like, oh, that's obvious. And then you actually look at it and say, I never actually did that. So just do this. And that's, everybody's in the idea of what's happening to me in my business and how hard it is to fulfill whatever expectation of customers. I want you to flip the script on that and think about what it's like to be your customer. I know this sounds obvious, but very few people do this. And I'm not talking about a cursory, oh yeah, I thought about it for a second. I'm talking about you sit down, maybe you're so busy that this is a Saturday afternoon and for 4 hours with all the key team members on a whiteboard, and you think through every step. How do people find us online? Or how do people, if I had a leak right now, how would I find us? And you start going, oh yeah, it's not actually easy to find us. We're not here, we're not here, we're not here. Okay, tells you a lot of things you should be doing in your business. Next step, once they find us, how do they find out how to get a hold of us? Oh yeah, wow, our phone number is not easy to see on our website or whatever, or we don't have anybody to actually answer phones at this time and this time of the day. We're always overwhelmed. We miss a lot of calls. So now suddenly you've got two big pitfalls for the customer journey. If you think about your customer in this context, they're like, this is a sucky experience. I'm already thinking this isn't a great contractor. Then number three, once they get on the phone, what's their experience? How much do they feel like we care about them, connect with them? How likely are we to come across as the best contractor they talked to that day when they called multiple people? Oh, wow, we would need to do this and this and this and this on the call to be looked like at the best. Great, now you got specific ways. And you keep carrying this forward through the entire journey, all the way through billing, and then asking for the referral. It changes the entire game because now it's all about how the customer it feels and less about you under the water or what guy isn't doing what you told them or whatever.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Okay, so let's talk about, kind of talked a little bit about the call.
Mm-hmm.
Where else do you feel like disorganization is kind of holding people back? I think we talked a little bit about the first appointment, and how should a technician or a salesperson be interacting with the CRM? I think that one of the things that people, that owners want is, and sales managers want, is for people to interact with the CRM more. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the objections that salespeople have is like, if I'm doing the work, or I'm making sure things are happening, sometimes it's hard to interact with the CRM. So how does, maybe you don't want to talk about CRM at this moment, but I'm saying
let's address that. It's totally, it's every time a salesperson says like, this is slowing me down, or this is more work, well, show me your process. And without fail, in fact, I can't even think of an instance where they had a better process than what we have. They always think they do, because whatever you're doing, you justify in your mind is the best thing to do. Most people. And once you know your job and you've had some success with it, then it becomes like ingrained knowledge that's hard to, it like causes cognitive dissonance to hear that it's not, like something could be better. So for instance, well, when you get a lead, where are you putting it? If you're not using a CRM, what are you writing it on a notepad somewhere? Or are you, where is it in an email stuck in somewhere? Now,
Google Doc.
Yeah. Now you have you call up the customer. How did you log that call so you even remember what to say? If you say, I only get one lead a month and I can remember it, I can understand that. But like, you're not in business if you're getting one lead a month. So that's not even a valid argument. And then second, like if you send them an email, where is that logged? What did you say? Well, it's in my email. Yeah. But what about phone calls? When was the last time you contacted them? When are you supposed to have another follow-up? Because key to any good sales process is to never leave a meeting with a customer without a follow-up meeting. It's just a number one first bonehead move to make. So where are you putting that? Well, I've got a paper calendar. I'm using my phone calendar, which isn't tied in. So the whole freaking concept here is to think about a CRM as being like, how would you ever be a great salesperson if you didn't have a tool to be able to track what you're even doing? How would you even remember if you got 50 leads, what you're even doing with everybody? Oh, it's all in my head. Yeah, BS. And then secondarily for the owner, they want it because they say, I got to get visibility on what's going on in business. Like we're spending a lot of money on leads, right now. So.
And I mean, like the clarity on the numbers, right? Like that's a big one for me, is like, I need to know what our close rate is. I need to know where our best leads are coming from.
And I'll break it down further. I want to know close rate per rep. I want to know which reps are working leads better so I can work with them and help them, Yeah.
And the more, I will, like, just to motivate people, if you're a salesperson watching this, like to use this CRM and to get in there and to get, key data, is it really helps me know when to give you a raise. It really helps. I mean, like I know closes, but it also helps me know your activity and how you're taking care of people, because I'm not just giving raises on closed deals. I am, that's, and obviously commissions and stuff like that, but I'm also paying attention. If you have a bad month or a couple bad months, but I know your activity is high. If I know your activity is high, you're at least, I mean, that helps. Everyone has bad months or, here and there, and you don't have to be the best salesperson all the time if I know that the activity is high. So that's one really good reason to make sure you're documenting stuff, I think.
The best salespeople know their numbers to the penny.
Yeah.
The best salespeople monitor their numbers every day and work the number. How can you move a needle on something that you don't understand what you're moving? So the idea that you can just do it all on paper or in your own little spreadsheet here or there it can work. It's not scalable and nobody has visibility, but it can sort of work, but it will never go to the level of the best salespeople. Never.
Yeah, I'll give like a cute example with me right now today, because I am the salesperson for Hook Agency today, because we have Sydney who's out in Florida.
Yep.
I got 3 leads in the like hour or 2 leading up to this. Phone calls, right, which is cool. You know, Hook Agency, like it's cool that they're flowing in, right? Yeah. Great people. I have them on a note. So I'm telling them myself right now, I have them on a note on my computer and I'm hoping to enter them later. Yeah. You know, and I'm not normally the first point of contact at our company. So, but basically there's problems with this because there's more details here that I probably didn't get logged. So I'm basically telling on myself, I need a CRM, man. Our CRM is actually, I mean, they don't make a good one like you guys for us. No, I'm sure that they do. I just need I'm using a project management. I'm using monday.com for our leads.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's pretty good for the PM side of things for a business like you. Yeah. I like some of the stuff they do. Not super customizable, but you probably don't need a lot of customization. Right now, at least. As you scale, you will. But
what is specific? Why specifically a home services or a contractor related CRM? Give me the why. Yeah. Comparatively to like, I have my why I wouldn't suggest like a HubSpot or something like that. But I'm curious, like your why of why is it better to use a niche CRM at least? Yeah.
The complexity of running a business is so high that there's no one tool that can do everything for everybody, and everybody has different use cases and problems. And so what you're seeing more and more in CRM, it's been happening for the last 20 years, is more niche products, like targeting a specific space. And then what you get out of that, you get very deep customization around the workflow of that type of business. Mm-hmm. You get tools and features that are dedicated. Like there are things in Job Nimbus that only work well for contractors. If I was a software company, which we happen to be, I would never use Job Nimbus as my CRM because I need tools for what a software company needs. And that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that we're very focused on those contractors, you know. Third, you get integrations. So everybody needs more interoperability than ever. They want something that says, okay, we're using this tool, and you probably need the same thing. I bet you have 20 different marketing tools to be able to do what you're doing. And it'd be really nice for a tool to pull that all into your CRM in process. You know, HubSpot's a great example of that. They have like 400 integrations around marketing related things right now.
So what are the things for people that aren't as familiar with you guys? What are the things that you guys integrate well with that they might be familiar with?
Yeah. I mean, everybody uses things like Eagle View and Company Cam. For photo taking, Eagle View for aerial measurement. Those you can order that stuff. You can sync it automatically. Job Nimbus. I mean, you're a Company Cam user. You just turn on a sync. It's so easy, and then every photo you take from Company Cam goes right into the job on Job Nimbus, exactly lined up. Super cool. You know, if you're like, man, I'm doing aerials, you can order your Eagle View right from our app. And it comes right in and sends you a little notification on the app as soon as it's done, and it's right there on the job, and you can send it to the customer in one click and all that kind of stuff. So we have over 40 integrations that are very, very home exteriors roofing specific. Yeah. And all of those are ones that customers are driven to say, I want this, I want this, I want this. We use this all the time. You go to any other CRM, they're not even have one of those. You know, even in our own space, our competitors don't even have that many integrations at all.
Can you let me play journalist for a second and ask some more questions? I'll play a journalist. I think about some other, I'm not going to mention names of other CRMs, but they're trying to do everything within the CRM. So why have you decided to go this direction and integrate with some of these services instead of trying to build that in the CRM? I'm seriously curious. I know that some people will be attracted to something that's a one size, it does every little thing. And then some people will appreciate the more extensible approach here. So why?
So it goes back to our premise of our whole company. So our mission is 3 words: make contractors heroes. And when we think about making a contractor hero, we think about, like, to me, being a heroic contractor is suddenly your life's under control and you're spending more time with your kids and your grandkids or your family members or whatever. Suddenly your life is more in control and you're making more money than ever before, working less than you have before. And now you're being able to buy that vacation house or that cool boat that you always wanted. Another option is that you say, I want to be the #1, roofer in Lehigh, Utah, and we help you make that happen. That would be making you the hero. Another thing, I want to do charity. Let's say you were in the military and you feel really strongly about vets or something like that, and you want to give back and you want to grow the company so you can give back more and more. That's what I define as being a hero. Now, what does that have to do with CRM focus? Well, if you think about that mission, that's all about growth. It's all about personal growth and company growth. Well, then you need to have a tool that can grow with you. And the problem with building a tool that has everything all in one place is that it works pretty good if you're small stage. And as you start growing, you grow out of it, because suddenly here's what happens with every company that gets bigger. They realize that whatever they were doing today doesn't work anymore. That's the only way you can keep scaling, is to change. It's about adaptation. That's how the best companies get big, is they adapt to the next rung. And it's about changing around your org structure. It's about how you change your processes, and it's about how you change around the tools that you use. So you're going to hit a wall where you're going to say, man, this doesn't let me customize things anymore, and we have to do this and this and this to get to the next stage. And so we build Job Nimbus around that concept. Now we have built-in templates that you can start out with Job Nimbus without doing any customization and have great success early on. But even the small guys say, yeah, but I want an integration here because I'm already using this tool and everybody's trained on it and we love it.
Ooh,
and,
okay.
and it'd be crazy to go to them and say, well, dump that other tool and use our stuff, when we say, just use what you want. It's so much easier to build the business on things you already know than having to start over on something that's totally
good. That's good. And I think, like, for me, personally, philosophically, I like kind of splicing some tools together personally, because I think usability on the back end is really important.
Yeah.
And as much as, like you're saying, if you're already working in a certain tool, I want your people to be able to use that.
Yeah, there's another aspect to that, by the way, which is that you want to also think about every company. Let's take Company Cam, for instance. They're considered the #1 photo taking software in home exteriors, and for rightly so. It's a great user experience. We love them. They're a great partner of ours. SumoQuote, #1 in proposal building. Maybe Leap to Digital will probably be in the same zone. Like, both good partners of ours. And when you think about those companies, you think that's their entire focus. All their money, all their time goes into making a great proposal experience, or a great estimating experience, or a great photo taking experience. Now there's Job Nimbus, that's the overall system. Are we ever going to be as good as any one of those companies at their thing they totally focus on? No. Can we have a lot of the features that a lot of customers say, this is good enough, I'm really happy with this area? Sure. But what about the other people that say, I want to use the other tool because it's more focused? That's what I'm talking about with scaling. As you grow your business, you're going to get more and more tools that solve a specific need, and you need a system that plugs them all in. That's why they call it a platform. That's what we are.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think of, same thing goes when somebody wants something on their website and they're like whether it be like chat, or like people have asked us to like do a CRM on their website or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, this will be out of date. If somebody did it, let's say they like had a crazy budget, and they're just like, well, I want you to, we could do something, there's kind of like WordPress plugins and stuff, and whatever. Right. Yeah. But it would be out of date in 1 year, versus any company that's going after this constantly. It's like always adding features and making sure that there's usability and different things going on all the time. So they're making it better. Same with chat. Like, it's not that crazy to roll one out, but there's always new ways of making it better. And like a software as a service option is always, they're always working on it and making it better. So that's why I always suggest
one of the ways to be a truly successful business is to do what you are uniquely good at, and then pay for other people that are uniquely good at things. For instance, people say, I don't know a lot about marketing. I'm a contractor. I know how to put on a roof like nobody's business. I know how to run a production team like nobody's business. I'm going to contract a hook agency whose total focus and what they're uniquely good at is my marketing for me. That makes a lot of sense. That's actually what great business people that scale do.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't do that are the other category. Well, I think I'll just try to do my marketing internally. I'll try to do this internally. I'll try to be a software company when I know roofing and try to have a dev team. You know how complicated it is. I would never try to go run a roofing company myself, even though I understand a lot about it, because I'm a software guy. I know how to run it. I know the complexity of it, but I want other people. I'm going to call somebody to do my roof because they are uniquely good at that. That's how I think about it.
Professionalism. Hey, there's something beautiful about that. There's
Yeah.
something beautiful. I like when people do know enough. They get into it and they learn a little bit about it so that I like when people chase money with effort too. They spend money with us, but they're also kind of pushing in that they even apply more effort. I think that goes for you guys too. Like, so in our case, like people will do videos internally, and I love that because then it like helps us get a better result. And in your guys' case, I'm guessing like you don't just spend money on a CRM. You need to spend money on a CRM and then push into it and make sure that it's well spent by ensuring that your people are trained, by ensuring that you increase adoption, because every chunk of money that you spend, if you apply effort at the same time, you get so much more out of that money. It's very hard to just, this day and age in business, just spend quantities of money and expect that it goes perfectly. It's supporting that with like making sure that there's adoption internally, making sure that you're applying any effort that you can, making sure that like you go to the meetings that help onboard you or whatever it happens to be. Make sure that you do the onboarding, make sure that you are present and aware and excited, because it's an important thing for your business. If it's not an important thing for your business, maybe don't spend money on it.
Yep.
But if it is an important thing for your business, chase money with effort.
Yeah. I think of the analogy of weightlifting and having a trainer in terms of adopting a CRM or any software at all that's more enterprise level. You would have to consider this. If you think about going into a gym your first day and you haven't been working out before and your trainer looks super ripped and you say, and you see how much he lifts and you say, great, let me bench that too. It's going to end in disaster. Most likely you're going to get massively hurt and quit that day. So the right way to do it is to just take the bar and actually start learning the motion. Mm-hmm. And once you get the motion and the movement down, now you start stacking plates. And you will get as jacked as that other person. You will be the strongest person in that gym. But it takes time and you do it one step at a time. So that's the same thing with your CRM or your software. You start out learning the basics, getting your customers in there, tracking notes, getting everybody on the same page. And then you start stacking plates. Now we're going to add in estimating. Now we're going to add in photo taking. And lo and behold, after a while, you're the best company in your area. You're the top roofer in your category, but you had to stack the plates to get there.
I love it. And one of those initial exercises, body weight exercises, is answering the phone. So let's circle this back around to the beginning of this. Answer the phone, be nice, get the details, set the appointment, make sure you're logging stuff in the CRM. We're here, we're rooting for you. Job Nimbus is rooting for you. Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to share with our audience? Anything you want to shoot the shit about the roofing industry? Anything? What's going down, man?
The only last thing I want to say is we're passionate about our mission to make people heroes. I think a lot about this concept of the hero's journey, which is the story of how somebody leaves their normal life to go on an adventure. They go through a series of trials, and when they come back, they are changed by the experience. They are a better person or a better company. And it's the entire driving force of our mission. It's also internally how I think about my own employees. When they come to a job, it should be a life-changing experience that makes them better. It's not just a job here, right? It's very aspirational and inspirational. And so I hope that comes through if you're listening, that the number one thing I want you to know is we care about you. We want you to win. And every day, all we think about is how we can make you a hero. And because of that, we spend all of our time obsessing over your problems and how we can solve them. That's why I love having these type of conversations. So I appreciate you having me here, Tim.
I love it too. And I think of one of my favorite things about, hey, contractors have problems with hook agencies sometimes. Guess
Yeah,
what?
sure.
Guess what? But guess what? I want to be the guy. I want to be the guy fielding those problems and
Let me
making
fix
our
it.
service better based on those problems. Like I want to be the ones that hear the problems. I
Yeah.
want to be the ones that feel it. And like I put out a customer service survey the other day, and getting back things that we could do better. And it's I don't know. I want to be the guy that gets those problems. And I think like because we're in a hallway, we only work with contractors. We have so many roofers. We get a lot of we fielded a lot of those problems. And by being that company that has fielded a lot of those problems, we're going to just get better and better at this one thing. Just keep on getting better. I think the same goes with Job Nimbus. You guys are constantly working on these things that you guys end up being the ones that get that feedback and the ones that are able to improve and innovate over time.
Yeah.
And in this smaller hallway of contractors, and I know you guys have a ton of roofers too. So,
Yep.
how can people get started if they want to check out Job Nimbus and they haven't yet?
Yeah, we've got a free trial. It's the best place to just go jobnimbus.com, sign up for the free trial. There's no credit card or anything required. You can get in there and try out every feature. We'll probably have one of our sales team will reach out to you within the first, couple hours of you signing up for a trial to say, would you like a demo? I highly recommend that, because having somebody walk you through, understand what your problem is and show you how it's solved in Job Nimbus is super powerful. And you can decide whether or not this is the right thing for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Podcast is, how can people just like follow your journey personally? Is it LinkedIn? And
the best place is follow me on LinkedIn. I'm always putting out new stuff on there. Here and there. A lot of fun things happening. So yeah.
Awesome. And the podcast is put on by hookagency.com, Hook Agency all over social. And thank you guys for watching and for listening.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.